you're going through situations, your adversary knows what it is your weakness. I'm telling you to guard yourself with the word of God, to keep yourself in accountability with your spouse and able to move forward so you can have true victory, true dominion, and true power.
And we have to help couples learn how to communicate all over again. They could have been married for 10, 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
And somewhere along the lines, they just lose that connection in their communication.
Some things you've had to go through, not because God is a horrible God or mad or any of those things, but to show you how strong and powerful and great and mighty that you are. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. What's up, family? How are you doing? I am Christian here with my beautiful wife, Lyneesha, and we are your marriage restoration coaches. And we'd like to thank you for joining us for the Thriving in Love podcast, where I'm going to say it again, slow up and listen to this, y'all, where we equip ministry leaders, come on somebody, to restore, protect, and maintain a healthy marriage. I'm going to let you know before we go that today we're talking about how ministry impacts your marriage. How ministry, had to get churchy for y'all, impacts your marriage. All right. So let's go. Let's get right into this. I'm reminded right now, beautiful, about the time I think you did it with a Wife Life episode. I was kind of sneaking in on what you were talking about, especially when you're in the studio and I can hear my name. It just makes me like, oh, she talking about me? Let me log in and see what she's doing. But anyway, I believe you were talking about this same scenario where those who have been following us for a long time, not just the last 6 months, I'm talking about for a while, they realize we've gone through many phases. We really try to go with the flow and leading of Holy Spirit and be in His perfect will, not just His permissive will. But anywho, when we first started, I'll say now Thriving in Love, it was actually called, and still is called, Purpose-Felt Life Coaching. We just deviated to Thriving in Love. Yeah. But when we first started it, many people don't know that I was supposed to be the coach. I was just supposed to be the coach, and you were, and I'm not saying this to put you down, but you're going to be, well, you say better than you if I say secretary or administrative assistant, whatever one you prefer to say. What were you supposed to be?
I was going to handle the administrative part of the business.
You hear how she worded that, y'all? Y'all take that. That's what she said. But anyway, that was the plan. That was our agreement. Yeah. You were perfectly fine with that. Yeah. I got certified, started learning. I got excited. Yeah, calls start coming in. Jesus! I was doing ministry. What? If they called, I answered.
Yes, you did.
Come on. And I went and I left y'all. Yes, you did. I had to do what I had to do. I came down excited. Your face was nowhere near excited as I was. See, you wasn't saved back then. I know you was a preacher and a teacher and all that, but you weren't really saved yet because you wasn't excited about my ministry that I was just dealing with and doing, right?
If that's the story, you stick
to
it.
Anyway, so listen, y'all. I mean, things was going good at the beginning. I just felt like, at least I thought they was going good. But truth be told, they weren't really going good. And we have even mentors in our life to this day that share with us that true elevation or true promotion from God means that you're supposed to be able to excel in every area of your life. Yeah. And we had to learn that. So I remember too, fast forward, I'm pumped up, had accountability partner, mentor, and I'm like, yo, how's it going? Whatever. And he didn't care much about how the ministry was going. He didn't care how much, this was going, how much money he was making or anything like that. He wanted to hit me at my kneecaps and just say one thing that's going to set this atmosphere. Y'all ready for it? I wish I had some music in the background. He going to say, had the nerve to say, how's your marriage? And I'm like, what you mean? Brother, what you mean? How my marriage is good. It's great. But we began a dialogue, beautiful, and you remember this vividly, but for you guys who are watching and also listening, we began to go into a conversation. What was revealed was that he said to me, Christian, do you know that you have, and I want to word it kind of correctly, it's not the exact words he said, but basically in so many words he said, you have the potential to cheat on your wife with the ministry. Yeah. And I was like, it hit me. I couldn't even, how do you respond from that? My brothers, if you listening, I need to know, how you respond to something like that. as a brother might and should. I was arrogant and prideful, a little like, no, that ain't it. But the truth of the matter is, we had a professor, Dr. Coulter, who said the loving course correction of Holy Spirit. Mm-hmm. That's conviction. I was so convicted, and I couldn't just stay there. I had to be like, well, is this true? What did I need to do? And I needed to talk to you about that. But I don't want to get to that part. I want to stop right now because I want to ask a question that we can pose for for discussion when we're moving forward within that. Because what happened was, even in the midst of my excitement and doing ministry and different things like that, there was still a weight that I was dealing with. Mm-hmm. Okay. And the weight that I was dealing with was from my brother, what he shared, but it was also the weight from the other side. See, when you're coaching, counseling, ministering, there's problems and you need to solve those things. Yeah. And that can affect your marriage. Mm-hmm. Let me put this cautious and this statement out there. Our goal in our podcast is not to, and even in our coaching, we're not equipping you just for your ministry. You have pastors, leaders, preachers, all those different things, courses that are helping you to thrive in your ministry. We want you to thrive in love in your home. Yeah. And so looking at that area, that's what we're going to even speak to. And so what I want to put out there for you guys is, like, what do you do when the weight of ministry is negatively impacting your marriage? Now, listen, y'all, I was at a place where I thought I was good, but it was negatively impacting our marriage. Yeah. Well, how was it negatively impacting our marriage, beautiful?
Well, I mean, for one, you were excited. And like you said, we agreed that this was the direction in which we were going to go. This was the business we felt like God was pulling us into, the area. And you are an amazing coach. You love pouring into people. You always have. That's just ingrained in you. Any conversation you have with somebody, by the end of that conversation, you would have mentioned their purpose. You would have mentioned, something that would help encourage them to keep going or pursue or at least identify, where God is calling them to, just to be their best self. And so I appreciate that about you. I love that about you. But when we got into it, you got into it. And it began to pull you to a point that we could be in bed, for, not ready to go to sleep necessarily, but to just spend that time together. And your phone would ring and you'd be like, oh, got to take this call.
Ministry's calling.
And
it's Jesus.
I'm sitting there like, in my mind, no, this dude did not just take this call and then not take the call for 5 minutes, like take the call for like 45. Like a whole coaching session when we were supposed to have our moments. And so it began to be like, I felt like that was everything to you. And it began to make me at some points feel like, well, what am I here for? What is it? What is going on here? Like, I'm feeling now like that took precedence. That's taking precedence over home, over marriage, even over, the family at times. And I knew that it wasn't purposeful. Like, it wasn't like your intention to ignore us or anything like that. But that's why, this conversation even comes up today, because those lines can get blurred so quickly. Yeah. To the point most often we cross the line much earlier than we actually realize we've crossed it.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't realize it because you still aren't a big arguer or fussing or getting in there, but it was a shift. Like, I could see in your face the pain and the questioning and and it puts you in an awkward place, because anytime you say ministry, it just put it up there. You're like, I'm doing that for Jesus. So, but there's a protocol even looking in there, and you can hit that a little bit later if you want to. But basically, what we're talking about from there is sometimes we can kind of confuse those things, as far as like our God time versus ministry, and we'll just blur those lines together, and there is a clear line between those. Yeah. So with that said, though, when I talk about the heaviness, and you guys can relate to this as well, there's points and times, even coming out of this story a little bit, where ministry has been weighted on us. I am a feeler. Okay, I ain't trying to go super deep, but the way that God speaks to me is I can sense, I can feel things, but he also can give me pictures. Lyneesha's a dreamer, dealing with different situations like that. So whenever the weight of ministry, we can get finished a case, I can get finished preaching or whatever, I a lot of times will feel like weight, heavy. Yeah. Heavy. Yeah. And it's one thing to be heavy by yourself. and it ain't good in the house and in the ministry, and you got to really deal with that, versus it's being at a heavy and also having a healthy, area. But when you're dealing with the weight of ministry and when it impacts your marriage, what do we need to do? I think that's the question that I'm trying to raise. And the first thing I want to give you guys is we're going to hit 2 points, and looking at time, we're not going to keep you long on this one. I think we need to do another segment. You okay with that one?
That's
Same
fine.
Topic. We'll do part 2. Okay, so this is going to be part 1, all right? So the first thing we need to do is to self-assess.
Okay.
All right? Some self-examination. You know where I'm going, Psalms 139, 23, and 24. If you guys...
We need to put that on a t-shirt.
You need to put that on a t-shirt. But it's true. Self-assess. Why? So when my brother was like, listen, you had the potential to cheat on your wife with ministry. I'm talking to Lyneesha. I'm feeling all types of things. Because when you minister to people, you've connected to that thing as far as ministry. So it's like, I need to see you through. Like, I need to pray. I'm responsible for this soul. Yeah. I need to go from there. But now it's affecting, I can't focus at home. Yeah. I'm thinking about the cases. I'm dealing with this weight. I'm dealing with all different types of things. So I had to look into an area, and we've had to learn this now, is to self-assess. Remind me to come back to that. So I felt like I left them in the air. So we started Purpose-Filled Life Coaching. And then after I had this area where my brother talked to me, Lyneesha and I started praying and talking and realized that God was calling us together for marriages. We were going to do Purpose-Filled Life Coaching just for me helping people to get through and find their purpose. Right. But God spoke to us about, hey, Lyneesha's not just an assistant or administrative person. She's a very viable, beautiful, lovely, sexy. I already use my words now. But anyway, so that's where we birthed the ministry. We did a 501c3 of Purpose-Filled Life Ministries, and then we went back to the LLC of Thriving in Love, so forth and so on, and now we're here together. But that word from my brother helped change our life and allowed me to do what I'm talking about in this first point of self-assess. Yeah, I don't have permission to use his name. I'm gonna give him a call after we get finished here, though.
Thank you.
And let him know, okay? But anyway, so self-assess. So Christian, get these points out. Let's end this one because we're gonna talk. You got to join us again for this part 2. So self-assess, what are you talking about? Look, I want you to discern where the weight is coming from. Why do I feel this way? Yeah. All right, I'm going to spit these out, y'all. So if you're going to write them down. But why do I feel this way? Why do I feel this way? With that Psalms 139, like point out to me, Lord, what it is that I'm doing. I need to realize, where is this weight coming from? Yeah. Is this weight me being a feeler where I can sometimes pick up on the spiritual conditions, even the cases that we deal with? Yeah. I can feel heavy and have to pray about those and say, why am I feeling this? What's going on, and going from there. Mm-hmm. Another thing you can do is realize whose weight is it? And that's what I'm talking about with the feelers. Like I said, am I picking up the weight from the case? Is this a weight from some sin and some shame? Yeah. Something heavy in the household? Is this something dealing with your spouse that's weighted? And they're like, is this my weight to carry? What's the purpose of this weight? That's something else to think of, right? The purpose of the weight. Is this for me? Is it for me to pray? Is it something that's in the atmosphere of our home that we got to deal with? Is this something I'm supposed to give over to a coach, a counselor, a pastor, share with my spouse? Or am I just going to keep my mouth shut and just deal with it? Because that can affect the marriage as well. Yeah. When you self-assess, but you ain't communicating. Yeah. Or you self-assess and you're weighted, and your spouse can, I'm telling you, you walk around the house, they know something going on. and we go back and forth because your response used to be, hey, babe, so what's wrong? Nothing. I know that something's going on. But what we need to start communicating at that area is, listen, baby, I'm processing. I'm self-assessing. Once I come out of this, then we're going to go ahead and talk. Yeah. Another thing I want you to do is ask yourself, do I need to reposition myself to better handle the weight? Okay? Okay? Now, it's the weight of ministry, but it's affecting your household. So how do you do that? Now, I'm going to this is a 2-for-1. I'm telling you, if you improve and thrive in your marriage, it properly positions you to go ahead and be an excellent leader in ministry and in the marketplace. Absolutely. So you got to take care. We are, as ministry leaders, as saved Christian, born again, whatever you want to call us, as believers, we have to have the strongest marriages as leaders because we are pouring out. Yeah. So we got to ask ourselves, how do I reposition myself? So a part of why I was so engulfed in the ministry side outside the house is because I had identity situations. I had a lot of insecurity. And so when I coached and preached and teach at that time in my life, that was like my value.
Yeah.
Like, I am a words of affirmation dude. So if I get somebody a breakthrough, that was great. Power. We inhabit the praises of our people. We're made in his image. Yeah. So I'm made in the image of God. And God like praise. I like praise as well. Not saying you were doing a horrible job, but they were just way more excited about what I was doing for them.
Yeah.
Versus what was going on in our household.
Yeah.
So we got to ask ourselves, like, do you know, like, because sometimes you can feel the weight because you ain't supposed to. Mm-hmm. Like, you ain't in that area. You ain't equipped for that type of situation that you're dealing with. Yeah. Looking at your gifting, looking at your health, properly planning and managing the time. Like, your roles, your responsibilities, personalities, like all those things, you got to be careful to go ahead and have that mindset to kind of deal with those things and think those things through, all right?
Yeah.
So we got to self-assess in those specific areas in that role to realize, where am I at? Listen, if you've never self-assessed or you haven't self-assessed in a long time, then maybe you're at a point in time when you really need that coaching. Mm-hmm. Like, that's where the coaching is going to go ahead and come in. Because we come in there and we get to see where you and your spouse ain't able to see.
Yeah.
We get to be like, hey, let's look at the blind spots. We have an assessment that we're able to give people as well to help them through, that helps them understand their roles, their responsibilities. And if that's you, right in the middle of this podcast, I'm telling you guys, hit us up with a DM, or you can always email us at connect@thrivinginlove.com, and we can go from there to go ahead and hear. We love to hear what you're going through and then schedule you a free strategy call with you and your spouse, because it's one thing, while I was going through what I was going through, even though it was me primarily, you were my support to go from there. So even if I'm the one standing, and then it's me, oh Lord, standing in need of prayer, no. Well, if it's me, but it's still we. Yeah. And so that's a particular area. Baby, what do you have to say? Well, in with your thoughts, and then they got to join us for part 2 as you start digging into something I'm not going to mention right now. Talk to us.
Yeah, just about that, what you just said. Sometimes it's one spouse who's out front, who's the main voice or the main face when it comes to the ministry. And we talk about ministry, whether it's within the church or in the marketplace. It's still ministry if that's your platform to do ministry. But sometimes it's just one spouse who's out front, who's out doing the work per se. But we always say, if one's called to ministry, then both are called. Because like you said, you're in that seat of support. You work as a team, whether you guys are both standing on a stage together or sitting on a platform together or whatever the case may be. You still support one another in everything. And so that's why we like to work with both spouses, because that's where the gold is. That's where you thrive, when you guys are on the same page and when you both understand your role and responsibility as a married couple first, and then how that affects your ministry or your business or whatever it is you're pursuing at that time. So that's important.
Absolutely. Good. Well, we're gonna pause this now so that you guys can listen to this part 2. All right. So listen, if you are a married leader in ministry and have seen how the weight of ministry has ripped apart either your marriage or those around you, and you're experiencing this right now, or you're concerned that you have the tendency for it to affect your marriage in the future, email us at connect@thriving.love.com. Thriving in Love. Email us at connect, I'm going to get that right, y'all, at thrivinginlove.com, and we would love to hear what you're going through again and schedule you a free strategy call with you and your spouse to coach you into thriving. Listen, what we want you to remember as we leave here today is that when a husband and wife team is totally committed to God, a proven system, and each other, there is a 100% chance for success. God bless you. You're awesome, and we love you.